Scott Osgood, live on the scene here at Treefort 2019 in Boise, Idaho, and thrilled to be joined by the wonderful Mattson 2, Jared and Jonathan, to talk a little bit about Mattson 2 and what's going on in the wild world of jazz and beyond.
That's the way you put that.
I know.
And
this
you got
is
us right, too.
Good.
Yeah.
And this is, kind of a broad topic to jump into. But was very glad to have caught you guys yesterday at Radio Boise for your showcase. What a fun show. It was the third time I had seen you guys, and like I told Jonathan before, it was the most fun I think I'd seen you guys have playing a show.
Good.
It was the first time I'd seen you outside of suits. You guys were a little bit buttoned down and cutting loose, and it looked like you were really, really having fun with the music.
Yeah, I think, if you're not having fun, then why are you doing it, So, not that it's like not serious.
You don't just do it
music.
to look cool?
Oh, to do the fun stuff? No. It's, we do it because it feels right.
Right.
And there's energy moving. And before we used to not be that open on stage, something just kind of clicked eventually. It's like, people are there to see a show. We're there to play music. We're all there to have fun. Why not just show it? And off stage, we're fun with all of our friends and funny with all of our friends. And we kind of turned that off when we used to go on stage back in the day, and just kind of turned on eventually, just our natural self, So that's part of that.
Rad. It's beautiful to see. And I'm glad to hear that was kind of a natural progression. I was wondering if that came from touring with other people. Obviously, you did the record with Chaz, and you guys toured with that. And then last year saw the release of you guys' wonderful take on A Love Supreme and interpolating other people's music. I was curious if that had led to this new joy.
That's a good point, man, because I remember one of the last shows we did play in suits was when we premiered A Love Supreme before we even recorded it on International Jazz Day in San Francisco. And I think after that, do you remember when we stopped wearing suits? I can't compartmentalize. It just kind of blurred into what we were doing now. And I think it ultimately helps people connect with us more, and it helps our mental focus be more open-minded and less serious.
Absolutely.
Which I think helps people like our music more. So it's a win-win.
Call it an apparel vulnerability, but removing kind of the uniform of the performer, I do feel like we get more of an authentic Mattson too, which is a beautiful thing.
Thank you. Do you like Pat Metheny?
I'm not familiar.
He's an 80s jazz guitarist. That's all right.
Okay.
And great, cool. The cameraman likes him. Right on. He said something super cool. He's like, what I want to do is, this is not my goal, but it's just interesting what he said. He said, what I want to do is the antithesis of fashion. He thinks fashion is super shallow, but he didn't dress dumb. He would wear the same Levi's and the same striped shirt to every single show he played throughout like a 10-year career span.
Okay.
He'd just wear the same striped shirt every show. And to him, he's like, to me, I'm in the service industry as an entertainer. He'd play to thousands of people. He's like, I'm just like a refrigerator repairman. I wish I had a uniform like they did to put on when I play a show.
Because I don't, I'm going to wear Levi's and the striped shirt.
He's like, there's no outfit
Recognize.
for a musician, so this is what I must wear.
So do you feel like the suits used to represent that for you? Or
Yeah, I think the suits were like our jazz side. Like, we loved the 60s Blue Note jazz vibe, and all they wore were suits when they played. So that's kind of what was in our head at that time. We just have a lot more influences now these days.
So yeah, this is a great transition. So what has been fueling more recent musical discovery for you guys? What has been some of the either new or old artists that you've discovered maybe in the past year that's really got your kind of creative gears churning?
Honestly, those amazing bands we've been touring with, like Krungbin, they're just like...
Please, yeah.
I love that they are...
They sound like they arrived out of a time capsule.
It's such a victory for the music world, because there's so many people going to their shows. There's just like insanely, just like everyone knows about them right now.
It's a beautiful crossover. Yeah,
it's a victory because they're mostly instrumental music, and that hasn't happened since like Weather Report.
Totally.
So I think, and then we just finished touring with Kikigaku Moyo.
Yeah.
And I love that
Japanese psych band.
Yeah,
Love them.
Exploring the sonic palette. And that people are catching on to that. So I think that's why we're kind of getting more people interested in our music too, because people have this mindset that they want to hear this music and not be safe anymore with their usual things they're listening to.
Totally.
I just dusted off a distant memory.
Okay.
Okay.
Dust it off for us now.
Okay. It was about the suits.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we were getting ready to tour with Chaz for our Star Stuff record, we did a short little, maybe 2-week tour, Midwest and East Coast for Star Stuff. And he's like, Chaz is always super careful about when he gives a suggestion because he doesn't want to offend anyone.
Sure. Very conscientious person.
He's super conscientious. Like this one funny time we were recording, he's all, hey Jared, do you ever play without reverb? I'm like, no, why would I do that? He's all, can we do it? Can we just turn the reverb off?
Just try it. Just, you know, just.
And now I don't play with reverb. I love the sound of it without reverb. I'll use it as like a tasteful thing in the recording process. But like right now, I don't have any reverb on my pedal chain. It's fine.
Shout out to Chaz.
Not everyone can not use reverb, but some people cannot use reverb.
Totally.
And then another thing, he's like, hey, let's lose the suits for the tour.
Oh, so this was partially
because he didn't want to wear a suit. And it would look
He's
weird.
like,
if
yeah,
we were
bro,
wearing a
I wear
suit.
socks and sandals. Come on now.
He got this really cool gray suit one time, and he's all, man, I can't wear it. I look like Pee Wee Herman. Remember that? So yeah, we didn't wear suits for that tour. And then after that tour, we're like, I feel like more of a connection with the audience. Not that we're like on this pedestal wearing this uniform.
Sure.
Like, so that was part of that.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like you guys are aligning yourselves with the right musicians. You're kind of building out, whether intentional or not, a community of like-minded individuals who are pushing the envelope as far as instrumental music is concerned, and actually pushing it into the forefront of listenership. I think a lot of people probably used to listen to your music in the background. And, you know, I myself am guilty for using probably a number of your tracks for mic breaks on the radio because it's so sweet and so smooth, and it's great instrumentals. But the fact that now we see you guys headlining stages, you're not the opening acts, you are the main act. It's really exciting time in music, and I feel like perhaps it speaks to a growing listenership or a growing patience in our listenership, because when we talk about instrumental music, it's not always as rewarding as, say, pop music. And as a listener, you might have to commit 8 to 12 minutes to get that release that you would get in 30 seconds in a pop tune. But it's cool to see that you guys are starting a wave and people are surfing in it.
Thank you.
We talked about jazz very briefly. But I wanted to know if we could have just kind of a general discussion about jazz. For our listeners out there, if we could give like a little Jazz 101 course via the Mattson 2. If you met someone on the street right now, say you met me, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Jonathan. I don't know anything about jazz. Where would you recommend starting? What are the 3 albums that you need to listen to in order to have a bass work?
Beautiful.
Level.
I love that I don't have to get into the nitty-gritty of what we're doing in jazz music.
No.
And I could just recommend some music. Okay,
Totally, yeah, easy.
So check out John Coltrane, I Love Supreme, which we actually just did our own cover of that album. So check out that too while you're at it. That's like the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
So John Coltrane's I Love Supreme. And then I would check out Bill Evans Live at the Village Vanguard. If you want like straight up traditional jazz. And then if you want to get fusion-y, Miles Davis, Bitches Brew.
Okay.
Those are the 3, I would say.
Stout choices.
I love his choices. I'm gonna go ground level though. I'm gonna go ground level, entry level.
Yeah, because I'm Scott on the street. I don't know anything.
Those are intermediate to intermediate expert level. But that's
Still necessary building blocks.
That's the way my beautiful twin brother is wired. That's the way he thinks.
He's a little advanced.
And every record that he said has wide appeal, wide acclaim, and tons of, accolades.
Are you saying they're low-hanging fruit?
I'm going to give you the low-hanging fruit.
All right.
Okay. Miles Davis, Kinda Blue. If you've never, ever heard a note of jazz, you need to start with that one.
Even
right?
Didn't Thrasher Magazine say that's one of the most heavy metal albums of all time or something?
Thrasher might have said that, or even a heavy metal album had that in their top 10 heaviest albums of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard that in high school. I don't know if I haven't fact checked that. but it sounds pretty good. That's how one of my friends got into jazz, and he was into heavy metal before.
Very cool.
But so Kind of Blue. Another one, and this is speaking from experience. This is how we got into jazz.
Okay.
So, and then the other one is John Coltrane,
Giant Steps.
John Coltrane, Giant Steps. And this might sound weird to some people, but it's an album that millions and millions and millions of people love, and it's just a classic album, just like a Beatles record or something. And it's Dave Brubeck, Time Out. I think those are the biggest three, and they all came out in 1959. So 59
Wow.
is kind of like the golden year in jazz. So that's another like crash course kind of.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah, apparently like that was the magical year in jazz, was 1959. That's when Chet Baker released his Chet Baker Sings, which is an incredible record that everyone loves. That's another one that's really good. Yeah, those are record-wise, that's a crash course for
Cool.
sure.
Okay, I appreciate it. Class adjourned. And this is actually an interesting kind of jump off point as well. So classic or golden era 1959 of jazz. I feel like a lot of people think of jazz as being maybe a movement in art or music that already happened. But you two, I think, can attest that it's still happening today. What's the most exciting thing that's happening in jazz in 2019?
Most exciting?
2018 obviously was A Love Supreme by the Mattson too, but 2019, what do we got coming down the pipeline?
2019, the thing that's exciting is the disparate audience members that make up the audience now with jazz music. With if you go to a Kamasi Washington concert or a bad not good concert, you just see normal looking people that look like they don't even listen to a lick of jazz, which is the raddest thing about where jazz is going. Because
Do you ever walk around the audience and try and fact check? I'm like, bro, do you even know jazz?
I do that.
Bro, do you even know a timeout?
I come across like a jerk, so I don't usually do. I stopped doing that. Yeah.
Tried it a few times and didn't
Yeah.
make any friends. Okay.
Yeah, people think sometimes we're being sarcastic because we like are saying something that's really nice, but they think we're messing with them.
Sure.
So sometimes we kind of hold back. Yeah. But anyways, that's
That was not sarcasm.
yeah. So
Got it. Duly noted.
yeah. So that's really exciting for jazz music. The other thing that's exciting for jazz music is like what we're doing too, and what those artists I just mentioned are doing. They're not holding on to this museum piece.
Sure.
They're not. They don't. In our opinion, it doesn't need preserving because the greats have already made their statement. Like, they're not gonna. They're not. I don't think they're ever gonna be lost.
Mhm.
Like John Coltrane's music, Wes Montgomery's music. You know,
It will always live on.
it'll always live on, and you don't always need a cohort of people that are preserving and performing their music all the time. I feel, but I don't know. That's just my opinion, and I feel like it's great to push jazz music forward. I always wonder what it would be like if Coltrane was still like making music today, what he would be doing, and
Sure.
who he'd be checking
Collaborating
out,
with?
You know, yeah.
The new single with John Coltrane and Travis Scott. Yeah, be fucking.
Because him and Miles were always pushing the envelope. Miles was never satisfied with where he was at. That's why he went through so many different phases, and that's what made him so relevant. And before,
Because he almost put out like the first hip hop record,
that's true.
right?
Yeah.
With the bebop?
He was going to make an album.
Doo-bop,
There was
sorry.
an old, what's it called when they sent messages back in the day?
Telegram.
There's an old telegram. I think it was from Paul McCartney or something. And it was basically saying like, hey, when are we going to make this album? It was addressed to Jimi Hendrix and Miles Davis.
Oh
It was
my
gonna be a
goodness.
trio with Tony Williams on drums. Yeah, that would have been amazing.
What could have been?
Jimmy
Yeah.
died.
That was right before Jimmy died. They never got to do that.
Wow.
Oh, I have
Wow.
something to say about jazz.
Yeah.
I have something to say about jazz. Okay, so, and this is no judgment on people who have that kind of preservation mentality.
Sure.
'Cause I think that's cool. They're almost like craftsmen. They do a craft very well. But dudes like Kamasi, Thundercat, Bad But Not Good are similar to the jazz greats in a sense that they're doing all original music. So that's what jazz is. It's not learning a collection of songs. It's not getting that tome real book and learning every tune in that. Like, what jazz is it's just a style, and it's a way of thinking, and it's a music heavily based on improvisation, interaction, musical communication, as well as a strong melody and a certain formal structure. It's not the tunes that you know. It's just a way of thinking. So
It's a lifestyle,
anyone
baby.
can do it. Anyone can do it. And if you can get the training from a jazz master, even better. But like Nirvana didn't need to learn all the Beatles songs to be considered rock and roll.
Very true.
Jimi Hendrix didn't need to learn all the Elvis songs to be considered rock and roll. That music was never standardized. I think the problem with jazz sometimes is it's too standardized. All that stuff is amazing and valuable to learn because you could contextualize your own work with it and learn new things. But just don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
Like what you're doing now? No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of a different genre. I don't know
Beautifully
how versed you guys are in, or I don't know what you guys listen to, basically. But it sounds like a similar argument that is waged against hip hop that's coming out nowadays. And a lot of people talk about the golden era of hip hop being early 1990s. And this idea of, boom bap, hip hop coming out of from the East Coast in the United States being the authentic form of hip hop. And now we have artists like Travis Scott out of Houston, Texas, that are incorporating a lot more, I would say, pop elements into their music. They're still marketing it as hip hop, and there's some hip hop heads who say, no, that's not hip hop. Versus there's a youthful fan base that says, no, that is. And I wonder if that's just the nature of music and the nature of human beings, is that we want to classify something instead of just experiencing it and loving it for what it is.
I wish I knew more about hip hop, which I love. I love hip hop, and that's my favorite. That's when I listen to hip hop. I only listen to 1990s usually. I love that stuff, but
just know they're still making it.
I know,
and it's
but
a little different.
But I think it's different because they don't have as much. Back when they were making it, people didn't know on like a copyright.
Sure. Oh, that was a huge.
They didn't know
part.
how to regulate what they were doing, and they were just doing all these mashups of all these songs. And now the laws are so strict with music copyright that I think that's why they can't make such amazing music as they did back then.
So it's almost so you almost see it as the law progressing the genre, whether intentional or not, by having these restrictions on what you could utilize. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Very
then the
interesting.
outside, what you were saying about the opinion of the artist against other artists on if their representation of this genre is valid.
Or authenticity.
Or authentic, yeah. That happens in the jazz world too. It's like it was insane because you had every generation of jazz didn't think the generation after them was actually doing jazz. Like you had Louis Armstrong dissing Dizzy Gillespie. And then you had Dizzy Gillespie dissing Ornette Coleman.
Really?
And then you had, I don't think Ornette Coleman ever dissed
anyone.
Yeah, Ornette Coleman never dissed anyone. But
Sweet
so
man.
it was a similar thing. It's like, these battles for authenticity, which is, it just gets in the way of the music, I feel.
And instead, the music lives on and
Yeah.
is carried out through torchbearers who give a damn like yourselves.
The beauty of the phonograph.
Yeah, right. All right, let's bring it back to the Mattson too. You guys are playing one more show here.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that real quick?
Playing two more, actually. Today's the band Dialogue, which is
A very special showcase.
Yeah, it's an annual thing in Treefort where the way I've seen it on YouTube is they block off like a city block, and there's a band, maybe of a few people from like 10 different bands or 6 different bands. You never know. Each year you go, but they set up on the block, or there's the block. You can see it right there. They set up on a street corner or whatever, and they face each other. And there's the conductor in the middle, who wrote the piece. I'm spacing on his name right now because we just met or whatever, or just saw him on the itinerary. But he conducts this whole improvisatory drone piece for 6 different bands to play. You don't have to know how to read music or anything. So that's going to happen today from 5 to 6 at Jump. And
Very
then
cool.
on tomorrow night, we're going to do El Cora Shrine
Oof.
at 10:30.
That's going to be fun.
Everyone does that about that venue. So everyone seems to like it.
It's a fun venue, and especially the later shows. They get pretty packed in there. And then, if you're an audience member, you have no chance, or you have no choice, rather, but to dance.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
it'll be a good show for you guys.
All right. Beautiful.
Cool. Last but not least, anything you guys are excited about checking out while you are out here in Boise?
I can't wait to see Toro, our homie Toro Yuma. And
Do you think he's wearing a suit
no, he's probably going to wear all white.
and socks and sandals?
No, he might wear blundies.
Ooh-wee.
And then, who knows? And then, Bell's Atlas are playing today. That'll be sick. Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
You didn't seem like you seemed like you were done.
No.
Yeah. But no, I have the same ones. Bell's Atlas, Toro, Built to Spill, and just bands I've never heard of before too. I'd love to check out all the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Reptilians are
Out of our own
Yes.
hometown of Portland, Oregon.
I've been meeting everyone I've met so far. They're all from Portland. No, and then except for the Boise people.
We've got a strong population out here right now.
It's great.
Please,
Something
Jared.
that we need to tell everyone. We have a new record that's going to be coming out in June.
Oh, thank you.
It's going to come out in June, but the announcement with the first single will be in April. We can't tell you the exact date,
This is still exciting.
but
Yeah.
you need to check back in with any of the social platforms or however you wiggle around this network of cyberspace. Mattson 2 in April. We're gonna have some fresh stuff.
Yeah. We love to be on the radio station too. Yeah.
Come on back to
We'd
Portland.
love to
Beautiful.
come back.
We'd love to have you.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take this back.
Awesome.
Folks, again, Mattson 2, live from Boise, Idaho. This is Scott Osgood with XRAY FM.